Yes, good evening everyone. So today we are going to find about how we can use time series by using simple Python libraries and how we are going to forecast and predict the next coming sales of a data set, right? So first, let me make it clear how you can use your Google Colab because no prerequisite required. You can use your Google Colab. You just need to go type Colab in your search engine. Just open Google Colab. If you're having any queries, just let me know. Once you open Google Colab, you'll get this thing. Make sure your Gmail is logged in. You click new notebook at the bottom. It will just prompt to another screen. Then you'll get an interface related to Jupyter Notebook. Yes, I hope everyone knew this. If anyone don't know, make sure you use this because some may be having Anaconda or some may not be having Anaconda platform. So make sure you use this. Yep. So let's don't waste our time. In the meanwhile, I'll share you the data set. I'll just share the data set. Just a minute. I'll be sharing the data set. I'll give you a link so that you can go for it. Yes. Once we'll start, I'll share you the data set. No issues with that. So let's get back to the session where our first concern is to know what is time series. So time series data is nothing but it is an important form of structured data in any field. That can be e-commerce, that can be economics, that can be ecology, neuroscience, and any kind of data. We'll try to forecast how the data is being gonna change. So in today's session, we are gonna use a superstore data set where we try to project the data. Yes, that can be in any sequential form or anything. We'll try to analyze the trends of the data. Yes, that we may be observing that can be in any sequential pattern where that can be cyclic or any kind of seasonal or anything, because forecasting is very, very important for us where we need to understand how that pattern is going to change. That can be any kind of e-commerce or economics that can be related to e-commerce or economics or anything. That is the reason time series plays a very key role when you try to understand the observed properties or measured points at any different time. Simple, what I can say is it is a way out to predict the behavior by using the past data and try to analyze how that gonna change in future. Yes, that is the reason time series analysis using Python. So if you heard from the previous webinars, you might be attend. We also worked on stopwatch and everything. We have used how to make sure of date time library. If you're not aware of it, first I'll let you know how to make sure how do we use the date time library and all the things. Then I'll share you the data set. Then we'll start working on that. Yep. So let's get back to this thing. The things which are going to cover is how does time series work and what are the examples towards it. And yeah, it is not something like what is going to happen in future. It is just forecasting, because machine learning is different and time series forecasting is different. So machine learning is something like where you try to understand how your data is going to change. See, forecasting is something like we try to understand the behavior, whether it is going to increase or decrease. Machine learning is something like where you try to make your data understandable to a model and it will try to change whether it is increasing or decreasing in any way. But forecasting is something like where you try to make sure based on the past data only whether it will increase or decrease. That's where some pharmaceutical companies will be using, or e-commerce or anything. Yep. So that is the reason we are having pretty much difference between an e-commerce, sorry, a time series forecasting one and a machine learning model. Basically, it's a structured pattern. That is the reason something like if you see, it is a sequential of data points measured over some time. Yes. So that is the reason time series may contain some information about the seasonal trend and how it is gonna change. The best examples can be how the time series is gonna change, how weekly average number of patients, that can be of any case, even you can go for COVID-19. So forecasting of COVID-19 cases is different, and building a structured model for understanding the behavior of COVID-19 data is different. That is entirely different when you go for time series forecasting, and building a model is different. So number of website views and monthly average number of reported clients and anything, if you try to understand the data. So that can be, as I said, that can be time series, and that can be where you can be go for year wise data, or that can be seasonal, or that can be daily or cyclic. That is the reason. Let's first go to implement how we can use our simple Python library to make sure how datetime is going to work. So first, let's import datetime. That is the reason I said we'll go for our datetime our Colab. I hope everyone is clear. You can use Google Colab, no issues with that. First, let's go for, yep, nice. Then let's see how datetime is able to understand, how our Python is able to make use of the datetime library. Then we'll see how that is used for time series analysis, because time series analysis may include array analysis, and we can use TensorFlow frameworks. It depends. That's a very wide kind of thing. So from datetime, we'll import star, because I want to make sure how time is gonna change, because time is a very important factor in our daily life. So due to time, everything gonna change. Something like a sports should suppose a sport should be begin or not, weather forecasting conditions, a fisherman going into water, and anything a business is gonna start. Example, stock. See, for every minute we can see now it is lockdown time. Every stock is gonna reduce. Once the lockdown is over, you can see pretty much change in everything, in the way people live, and the people gonna change, right? So that's the reason time is very important. So that's the main point we are trying to make use of that session also. Let's give datetime dot now. Now if I give a, what you're gonna get? You're gonna get the present date and time in the function of datetime. See, datetime dot datetime of 2020, year, month, day, hour, minute, second, microseconds. Yep. Year, month, day, hour, minute, second, microsecond. What is the output you are able to see? What it is displaying for you? Year, month, day, 2020. So it is April 14. What is the time you are getting? Tell me. Same. How? Why? Yes, that is Greenwich Mean Time, because we are 5.5 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. You are getting that output. If you are getting that output, then that is fine, because we need to change that in time zone. Yes, because we are using Google Colab, the time differs, but you are getting exact day, right? Leave that aside, that is not an issue. No issues with that, because we'll be using the data set which is present in our model. Now I can convert this thing into string format also. How can I do it? A dot, just to make you some simple awareness, because in time series forecasting, we'll be using how we can apply some frequency, how monthly wise data is changing, how it is changing according to year, monthly, daily. That's all comes under with the help of pandas library. I'll make you introduce that thing also to just brush up the things. I want to see this in string format. So percentile D hyphen, generally we write dates with hyphen, right? Percentile B and percentile Y. Now we can see our output in string format, right? 17 April 2020. Yes, did you get that thing? Because strf of time is for string format of time. Just to make you aware how we are using this thing, to make sure how datetime libraries are important when you go for time series. And in time series, we make use of date time. Yes, percentile D stands for date, and percent date in the sense we call it as date, but that is day of the month. What is day of the month? 17. Percentile B stands for indicating your date in string format in full letters. If you see, right, percentile small b I gave it is in shortcut. If you give capital B, that is gonna go for full. So capital Y 2020, small y only 20. That's how we write the shortcuts. Now I want to convert whatever I defined in string. I want to convert this thing into date time format. So I can go in another way. I define that thing in a variable where I define some date. You can define any date. I define my date here, 26 December 1993, and I want to convert this thing into date format. That is in string format, right? Because you can see double quotations. What does double quotations mean? You are giving it in string format. Yes. So convert that thing into date format, date time dot. You can see the suggestion strp of time. What is your value and what is your format? What is your value over there? A. How did you give? You give it in the same format. Quotations. I gave percentile D space percentile capital B space percentile capital Y. Whatever you gave in the same format, you need to make sure you're giving it in the same format. See, I gave 26 December 1993. strp of time is string point of time. You give your string input and the format. Here you give space, you give space here. If you give hyphen for everything, you try to give hyphen, because if you run the same thing, it will tell you an error. Does not match the format. strf of time is string format of time. So however I gave in the same way, you should go in the same way. You should go for giving out hyphen. Yes, that is how you get strp of time is for string point of time. strf of time is string format of time. Now let me give you an example how pandas can be used for this time series analysis, because in the next, when I share you the data set, you're going to use the same thing. We are going to use how we can analyze the given data set monthly and yearly. You can go for it. So for that thing, I'll just give you a backup. So import pandas as PD, where you can go for PD dot date range. You can give your own range, date range. So I can give it in string format again. So I gave 26 December 2019, and I define my number of periods in the sense how many it should take, and with what I define my frequency is equal to I define days. If you give out A, now you can see the difference. I gave frequency is equal to D, right? D stands for number of days. So 26 December, 27, 28, 29, 30, you can see 10 days. If you change D to capital M, frequency of month end, we'll be using this thing in our data. Yes, if you give MS capital letters, because those are frequencies. What do you mean by frequency? How is that repeating? I gave frequency of month beginning. It has gone to 1st January 2020, 1st January, 1st February, 1st March, 1st April. It has gone till October. That is how frequency can be used. If you want, you can give out D, number of days. Yes, you can also include time zone. Time zone is equal to, you can give Asia. Generally, Kolkata is our time zone. Asia, Kolkata. You can see 5.5 hours. That means we are 5.5 hours ahead of universal coordinated time. So it gives you in that format. So this is a simple explanation where you can analyze how pandas can be used for time series in a general way. Yes, am I clear? Just to make you brush up how date time is implemented by using Python, and how pandas can also be related to time zone. Because in pd.date range, you gave your date that can be in string format and number of periods, how many intervals you want to take, and in that interval, how we are going to divide. And you can also add time zone, PyTZ. You need not import that library, because in pandas, for date range, I can import it directly. TZ is equal to Asia, Kolkata, or American New York, or anything. You can go in any way. You can go to this URL for downloading the data set, tinyurl.com/data hyphen webinar. You can go to this URL and download that Excel sheet. See, this last output is you are using time zone plus 5.5 hours is Indian Standard Time Zone is 5.5 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. That is the reason. D type is date time 64 nanoseconds, Asia Kolkata, and frequency is D because I gave frequency in D. D stands for number of days. M stands for month. MS stands for month beginning. See, month beginning, 1st January, 1st February, 1st March, 1st April. Yep. So let's, once you download the data set, so because there we are going to use a simple data set called as Superstore data set, where the data set consists of dates and the categories and all the things. We are trying to forecast how that sales and are going to increase in the next thing. That's the reason I said the types of time series analysis include that can be seasonal, or that you can go for yearly, you can go for monthly, that can be regular anyway. So basically, how does that divide? That goes for based on dependent or independent variables. If you see y is equal to mx plus c, which we have learned in our childhood, right? Yes, you can use Jupyter Notebook. So there, y is dependent on x. Something like if you go for crops and all the things, crop is dependent on rainfall, right? Crops are dependent on rainfall, temperature, and all the things. Yes? Do you agree with me? Crops are dependent on rainfall, temperature, moisture, everything, right? So there I can say crops are taken into Y category, rainfall, temperature, and all these things are taken into X category, right? That's how you divide your Y is equal to mx plus c. Based on that input, I try to segregate the whether that forms into any kind of analysis that can be additive or multiplicative or anything. Yes. So let's go for the implementation. So you need to upload the data set here, because why do I choose Colab? Because you may or may not be having Anaconda or any other Python related softwares. So our main intention is to make you understand how data is pretty much used and how Python can be related to data science. That's our main intention. Now you have this folder symbol, right? Towards your left side, you just click on it. You'll have an upload option. Same as how you upload your files. You just go to the location where your file is saved. In my location, it is in desktop. I have already downloaded it. You'll be getting a warning. Uploaded files will get deleted. No issues with that. That file will be uploaded into the Colab. You just click on your left side, upload your folder button. You'll be having a icon called as files. You just click on it. You'll be getting an upload option. Then same as how you upload your files into Google Drive or your pictures. Yes, please just upload into your Colab. Then you can see your data set uploaded here. Yep, I think I'm clear. So done. Once data is uploaded, let's go for the implementation part. First thing, I'll import a simple library called as warning so that I don't get any warnings. I import another library called as iter-tools because I want to iterate the data. Then generally you go for my analysis libraries. Import NumPy as NP because I have my data set in the format of rows and columns. Yes, so obviously that is an array where you need to make some analysis. So import NumPy as NP. Iter-tools will be using to pattern parameter selection in ARIMA model. We'll get to that thing once we just go for data analysis process. NumPy as NP, matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. You can give it side by side, no issues with that. Then I have included warnings, right? So I need to make use of that thing. Whatever warnings you get, you can ignore with this pop-up message like warnings.filter warning that you can use in Jupyter or Spider or anything. You give the comment as ignore, because what does your Spider does, you know, Spider or Jupyter, it will tell you that this model is going to depreciate. You try to use this and anything. If you're working on some kind of data set, then don't worry about that thing. You'll ignore the warnings. So for the first case, I'm ignoring the warnings. and I want to use a simple style for my graphs. Plot.style.use some simple styles. You'll be having ggplot and all the things. I use 538. This is my style pattern. Just simple style you want to use. And then you go for import pandas because that is the main library to read the data set. And then I use another statistical library called as stat tools, basically from stat models, where your statistical kind of all expressions can be used, because I'm going to calculate how, as I said, ARIMA, it stands for auto regressive integrated and moving average, how that data is going to forecast in the next coming years. That's our main thing. So for that thing, I need to import my statsmodel.api as SM. That is the library. I'm renaming it to include the statistical models. Yes, then I'll make some simple techniques so that my whatever my axis and other things look pretty simple. For that, I go for matplotlib.rc params. RC param stands for running comments for style. This is actually depreciated 3 years ago. To make sure matplotlib has effective usage, I just write them to make my axis, size and everything look pretty simple. Axis dot label size is equal to, I give my size matplotlib dot RC params. RC params are nothing but RC parameters, where you go for running comments for style. That is for styling purpose. That is the reason I gave only label size, and I give xticks dot label size. I define some numeric because size will always be numbers, right? So matplotlib dot RC params. You have given xticks, and you can give ytick. It's actually xtick, and ytick dot label size. You define some numeric. Then you can also give the color of the text, just to make sure whatever you enter and whatever the graph you get, that should look in a pretty visual manner so that anyone can understand. So that is the reason we are giving these things, all related to style parameters. So for that, you need to have matplotlib imported separately, because there we have used matplotlib.pyplot. That is for just plotting, and this is for taking all the parameters from this. Here you just imported warning so that any warning should be ignored. And as usual, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, because we need to go for NumPy, Pandas are for taking out the data and reading it in the array form. Pandas is your data cleansing library, where you need to read the data from Excel sheet. And the new one is statsmodel.api, because you want to make sure whatever the statistical things you are performing, that you are going to get. Yep. K stands for black color. See, Matplotlib, you use primary colors, right? Primary colors RGB, red, green, and blue. What are secondary colors? CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. So K stands for black color. Don't worry, we are having another webinar on data analysis in the day after tomorrow. You'll be understanding what are those. We are going to do time series analysis and forecasting for furniture sales, because if you open your Superstore data set, that includes, I'll show you here. We are going to do this time series analysis and forecasting for furniture sales. Yep. So let's go for it. Let me make sure my data is correct or not. Yep. Superstore. Yes. Let's see the data set. You're having an Excel sheet, right? I'm making sure my data is correct or not. Once the libraries are imported, you need to read that data. df is equal to pd dot read underscore Excel, because whatever the format you have is .xls. That is not CSV. You can see it. So we can also read an Excel sheet data with the help of pandas. That's why pandas is something like a well-known or used library for reading the any kind of data set. That can be Excel sheet or CSV file or anything. Yes, so furniture is equal to, yes, no issues, you can rename it. I have Superstore, that is actually a market. We are going to perform market analysis. That's a generalized term. Yes, that is whatever you have in the tiny URL, that is the data set. In my system, it is with Superstore because it includes all the furniture data. As I said, we are going to find time series analysis and forecasting for furniture sales, how they are going to increase in next half an hour. So furniture is equal to, if you want to see the data set, you can directly, but if you want to read it, df dot head, you can directly go for it. See, it includes, if you see this data set, when you run to it, it includes row ID, order ID, order date, shipping mode, customer name, segment, country. It's an Ebro database where you have categories and subcategories related to a superstore. That's the reason the name is Superstore. I have renamed it into sample. You can go for it. Now, I want only furniture in category. So I will take that as categories. Yes, let's go for it. I'll name that as furniture. So furniture is equal to, how do I locate it? df dot locate of from category, because category is your df is equal to, because I named that as df. Make sure you give the correct thing, df of category. So from that I want only furniture. So make sure you take it and close the brace. Then call up the furniture dot head, because if I give head, I got only top 5. Just a minute, df dot locate of df of category. I should not close it here. Yep. Now it's done. You can get the categorized data with the help of only furniture. You can see in your category. You can spot it out in your data set. Then after reading the data, I'll perform some analysis on this. Let's see what is the minimum date of furniture and what is the maximum date. So that's I want to see furniture. What is the minimum order date and what is the maximum? You can see the suggestion you are getting over there. Just do follow it. This is the furniture minimum order date, that is this data set which includes furniture category on year, month, day, right? So it is on January 6th. That is the first date where you can see the furniture, and it is giving you the suggestion order date. And I want to see the maximum. What does maximum give? Will give you when is it last purchased, 30 December 2017. That means you just locate the data, just locate furniture from the data set. I hope everyone is doing. I need not do it. Just furniture of order date dot minimum, furniture of order date dot maximum. Now we go for data pre-processing, where I need to remove columns which we do not need, because I want to project only according to furniture order date and sales. That's what I want. Yes, someone please copy the 21st. You just locate the furniture category, Sabish, because I have already done it. I need to go with the time. So data pre-processing, where I need to remove unwanted columns. For that, I define all the column names. Make sure you write it correctly. Row space ID, and you define order ID, because I want to go for row. I want to have only order date and sales. So that is the reason I need to mention all the things here. The next one is shipping date, ship date, and the next one is ship mode. You can copy paste all the column names here, and you can go for the next one is customer ID, and the next one is customer name, If you're having any error on that, it will just prompt you, just go as usual. Once you get error, you just debug it. Don't worry about that thing. Segment, country, and city. I want only order date and sales. That's the reason I am making sure remaining things are dropped. City, state, postal code. Because we wanted you to understand how time series is generally used in real cases. Region, product ID, category. We are having some more things. That's the reason I'm writing it down. Region, product ID. Just let me finish up this and I can solve your errors. Category and subcategory. Product name. Quantity. We are just about to finish this. Quantity, discount and profit. I want to have only order date and sales, so that is the reason I need to drop all of them. Drop all of the remaining columns. That's your wish. I'm not using all the columns. I want to make sure. I don't want to also convert that into list. I know that shortcuts. I want to drop all of them. If you are good at that thing, you just go ahead, because I'll be dealing with in a very simple way to understand for a beginner also. If you're having those background knowledge, you can go ahead. Just I want the order date and sales from that. So you can go for dropping all these columns according to the axis, and you give in place is equal to true, so that doesn't repeat on this. Then furniture dot, so I want to sort the values. Sort underscore values, because we are having number of ways to get this. If you are well aware of that, then that is very good. You can go ahead. I want to show whether whatever I got is of clear or not. Is null dot sum. Is null dot sum will check for all null values. Checking for null values. It gives the sum. Yes. So let me first check it whether I'm having any errors in it or not. Ship mode. Yes. That's where I got E extra. That is ship mode, not ship a mode. Yep, it is fine. So order date and sales. Then let's group it. So we have, when you go for furniture, you have order date and sales. Then let's group it and find out the sum of sales. Furniture is equal to furniture dot. See, you're having all the suggestions over there. Group by, because I want to group what are my column names. I want to group according to order date and sales, and find out the sum. How many sales I have got in every day starting from the day one itself. So that is the reason I'm giving out dot sum, and I want to arrange in an ascending order, and I want to make this as index, reset underscore index. The sum of all sales according to date. See, with this simple line, you can sort out from the entire data. That's the capability of pandas. Furniture dot head. Right? So you can group accordingly. You can write these simple lines. If the code is of heavy lines, I can paste it in the chat box. Yes? Is it clear till here? How we are grouping them? We want to go with order date and sales, because I want to forecast it. This is a simple line. You can write it. No issues with that. You just group the order date and sales and find out the sum of sales on each day. 6th January, 7th January, whatever the data is present, you can go for head of 15. You get the 15 values. It depends on your interest, where the data is started. because you're setting the index order, date, and sales. That's the reason I gave reset underscore index. Finding out some values and giving out in a proper way, reset underscore index, so that the index is set to order, date, and the columns are order, date, and sales. Index is set with date. Yep. Now, as it is in date time format, right? Year, month, and day, I want to make sure that if I want to plot a graph, I cannot plot it directly because order date is also a column, right? So you need to make that as index. Here order date is as a column. You need to make that as index if you want to go for time series. Yes, someone has pasted over there. Just go for it. If someone need, you can refer the chat box. Now I go for indexing with time series data. So I want to make my order date as index. So for that you go for set index. That's where data cleansing comes into picture. Once this is done, we'll go for the time series analysis. This is just making your data understandable into specific format. Order, date. Set index is different and reset index is different. Reset underscore index is you are trying to make sure whatever the columns you have that is properly aligned 6, 7, 10 in a properly aligned manner. If you don't align them, that will be in any crisscross order. So that is the reason we gave reset underscore index. And now we are making order date as index. What does that mean? Everything is converted into date time format because we are indexing with order date. Now we can go for analyzing it with monthly or month beginning, because this can be some tricky. You're having 6th January, 7th January, 10th January and everything. Yes. So we'll use the average daily sales and we'll try to find out how at each month starting what is the sales. Because if you want to go for daily, that will be very hefty manner. So you'll go for converting that into average mean by monthly. So for that, I have converted. I'll use my time series pattern now. So I want to go for furniture of sales dot I'll use resample method because we are using resample with the frequency of month beginning. As I said, M starts for month end, MS stands for month beginning. I want to find out the average sales. You can see the comments over here. I'm writing resampling the sales from days to month because I want to see first month wise analysis. You can also go for year wise. You can replace MS with Y. Resample. What do you mean by samples? Number of something like time points in a specific interval. You are resampling it according to monthly. Whatever you go for it, you can resample it. Order date, check your key. Order space date. Check your data set first. Now you can see this thing has been arranged into month wise. Say 1st January, 1st February, 1st March, 1st April, and all the things accordingly. We are resampling according to month MS. If you go for capital M, you can see the difference over there. It has gone to month end. You can see the data 31st January, 28th February, 31st March. If you go for Y, it is go for yearly. Yes. So make sure, sorry, that is Y, it is not YMS, it is MS. Yep. Is it clear? Analyzing this in a graphical manner. You can also get anything based on, you can go for slicing or you can go for anything if you are good at. If you want only 2017 sales, you can go for it. Y of, it's small y, Y of, I hope you know this slicing, right? 2017. If you want only 2017 data, you can go for this. Y of 2017, it will give you only 2017 data. Yes, that's the last code. We are resampling according to monthly. Please try to follow line by line, because in the next half an hour we are going to see how the data is forecasting. It may wind up at 8:30 or more. Don't worry about that thing. Yes, you can see specifically year-wise data also. If you know the slicing concept, please check your keys. How did you define order date? Then let me plot it accordingly. Yes. Now I'll visualize this. I want to visualize the furniture sales in time series data. That means I want to see accordingly to yearly or whatever. Someone has already placed, you can see that y is equal to furniture of sales dot resample, because I need to go to top again. Don't mind for that, because everyone is in loop. Figure size is equal to, I define my figure size in a better way, and you can see the plot. So for this, I have given. Is it clear till here? You can see here. When you plot the graph, you can see how we are getting from January to July. We have just plotted the graph for, which starts from January 2014 till wherever the graph is ending. You can see some distinguishable patterns where it is increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing, and all the things. What you are getting the error, please make sure that you are understanding. Please read the error, because I suggest my students or anyone, you just don't worry about the error. You just try to read the error, because the advantage of Python is it is in English manner, so that you can understand the error. This code is for plotting the graph, and you plot, and I'll scroll once to top. You can see the number of only 2017 data, and if I scroll up, I am trying to understand my average data. Yes, someone is said, make sure you dot plot is for matplotlib. Whenever you're using plot, that is from matplotlib. See, there is always a strong upward curve in year wise. You can see January 2015, the curve is increasing. After July, curve is increasing. January, curve is increasing. From January to next January, curve is increasing and decreasing. So there is always a strong upward trend within any single year, within a couple of low months. See, January to next January, 2016, 2017, you'll be having some slightly up and down trends, because that is a superstore. People may buy in one. See, nowadays, this lockdown 40 days, superstores and all the things are only running in the morning times. Remaining days, they need to shut down. Yes, because of all the reasons. In the same way, in our data set also, we can see some trends. Right? Now, we can also visualize this. That allows us to decompose our time series into 3 distinct components. That's where your additive and multiplicative things come. So for this, I go for RC params from PyLab, Python Lab. I import RC param just to make sure that you understand the trends in seasonality and noise. Yes. Thank you, Nikhil, for that posting. Yes, you can follow. If anyone is missing, you can see the chat, because I need not scroll up because time may consume. So RC params of, you can go for figure dot figure size. You just want to observe the trends in time series decomposition. From PyLab, import RC params. RC params is nothing but you are running the current style, and I want this figure size in the format of 18 height and 18 width, 8 width. I want to decompose it. Decomposition is equal to sm dot TSA, because time series analysis from PyLab. Yes, okay, I'll check my key errors, because some typing it may go fast. No issues with that. I'll check that errors. Thank you. I want to decompose them according to trends. How is that varying seasonally, monthly, and yearly? For that, we are just using our time series analysis, TSA, and your input Y, and you're using your model additive. It will be adding That's what we have seen in the previous PPT. Then figure is equal to decomposition dot, you can plot it. Yes, then just show the graph plt dot show. Additive in the sense we are adding each and every year data, because that can be additive and multiplicative. It depends when you're using which type of data. This is something like my superstore data set, so I can use additive from 1 month to another month. Then if you go for other kind of data sets which includes any stock or anything, then you can go for multiplicative. It depends on what kind of data you're using. Just you go for addition. Yes, I'm copying the code in the chat box. You can use it. You just run it. You can see the trends. See, you can see observed data and how it is varying according to trend and seasonal, and you can see the residual, how they are varying according to order dates. Seasonal according to seasonal, how they are increasing, and according to residual. So this is only observed with the help of time series analysis, how we are decomposing our own data into different parts. This is only for furniture we are doing, furniture sales. And if you go for seasonal from this graph, what you can observe, seasonal is not stable. See, it is increasing in the first quarter and decreasing and increasing. It is not stable. How can you say it as stable? It should consistently increase. No business will have some consistent increase, right? Until and unless it is a big brand. So if you see here, it is unstable. Yep. So let's go for resampling it wise quarterly, so that you can understand how does that vary. This is for month wise we have done, and now we'll go for quarterly. Just you need to resample it with the help of Q. Q stands for quarterly. Sales dot same. Resample of, you give out Q quarterly and add all of them. Resample data from days to quarterly. If you print X, you can see every quarter. See, trend graph represents, what do you mean by trend? How is going to change, right? Trend will be seasonal. Yes, exactly. Trend is low when seasonal is high, because seasonal trend and everything, how the data is going to increase every season. Residual in the sense whether it is performing in a better way or not. That is decreasing. You can see the x-axis, y-axis, it depends on the sales. When you consider decreasing in the negative way, that means the sales are down. If you go for quarterly, you can see Q stands for quarterly, 369. You are having 4 quarters in a year, right? So that's how this represents. Someone has already pasted it in the graph. Is it query clear? How the negative values, because that indicates the decrease in the sales. And I want to see the plot. I want to see this plot in the format of area. You can see how that is being occupied like this. Simple analysis, you can see for this quarterly analysis, how that is going to increase. You can also go for yearly analysis. How do you go for yearly analysis? You can replace Q with Y. That's it. You can go for it. You can do it on your own. You can replace Q with Y. Yes, exactly. Yes. So now our next important step is we'll start our model analysis with the help of, we'll use ARIMA time series analysis, because ARIMA stands for additive, auto-regressive, integrated and moving average. Because till now we have seen what is the past data, right? What is the plot present within the data, and we are analyzing monthly, quarterly and all. You can replace Q with Y, capital Y, you can get according to yearly data. Now our next target is to specify how that is going to project in the nearby future. That's where the things help, right? So for that, I use my time series forecasting analysis known as ARIMA analysis, where A stands for auto regressive, integrated and moving average. So for that, we are having some steps. You please try to follow them. Here we will be using our iter tools for iterating the data. A stands for ARIMA, auto regressive integrated moving average, to that is fitted to time series data in order to predict future points. We have ARIMA model, SARIMA model. SARIMA stands for seasonal, and SARMA model, and that's where it has started from forecasting to machine learning. Where in machine learning you have the supervised, unsupervised learning techniques. In deep learning you go for frameworks. That's how it has started from forecasting techniques to you can resample with area with the yearly analysis also. Now let's go for time series analysis. First here we'll include three variables, I mean three integers, which are called as P, D and Q. I hope it is clear till there, because now we'll be going for the time series analysis. In the next 15 minutes, we can see how that is being forecasted. I define P is equal to D is equal to Q is equal to, I give up some range of some values 0 to 2 for just analysis, because P, D and Q are the integers where we need to parameterize our ARIMA model. That means I want to account for how it is varying seasonally, how it is varying according to trend, and what is the noise in my data, and where am I getting my low sales, so that I can understand, I can improve my business. In which quarter I'm getting sales in which category. So I'm concentrating on furniture, you can go for it. So where P is called as autoregressive part, D is the integrated part, Q is the moving average. Three compromise ARIMA model, autoregressive, integrated, moving average. For autoregressive, it always allows us to incorporate the effect of past values, whereas integrated is something like it includes that the difference between the past values to the present value. Q is nothing but moving average. It allows us to set the error of our model as a linear combination. That's the integration of these three integers will make an ARIMA model. So for this, I need to select my parameters. I define my parameters to take any value between 0 to 2. That is some generalized one. We'll first go for it, and I'll form a list. PDQ is equal to, I need to convert that thing as an itertools, list of itertools dot, just to parameterize, you'll understand once we do it, parameterize of dot product of P comma D comma Q. This is the general procedure whenever you go for time series analysis. Once we finish it, you'll understand. Seasonal underscore PDQ is equal to generate. We need to generate all combinations in the format of triplets. For every year, we will be having 4 quarters, right? So we need to generate some triplets. What do you mean by triplets? 3 combinations, right? So I want to generate this thing in the format of triplets. So I give out seasonal underscore PDQ of X of 0, comma X of 1. Anything related to stock analysis or anything, you can go for time series analysis. As we are having 12 months in a year, so I give X of 0, X of 1, X of 2 for trend, seasonal and noise. And I define my for loop for X in list of itertools dot product of P comma D comma Q. That's where you represent and you close the list. Those triplets are for making your seasonal and trend analysis, seasonal, trend, noise, because PDQ, autoregressive, integrated and moving average. As I said, P stands for autoregressive part to allows us to incorporate the past values. D stands for integrated part to include the difference from the past to current value. Q stands for moving average for the future. How does we set our linear combinations from the previous time pass to the future? That is the reason I'm giving the triplets P, D, Q. Then we just print the examples of, you can go for it. We print the combinations. This SARIMA max includes the seasonal, auto, regressive, integrated, moving average values. SARIMAX, SARIMAX, because I want to generate the triplets over there. Dot format, Hope you know dot format method in print for print statement, because dot format is make you to replace the values over there. So dot format of go for PDQ of 1 comma seasonal underscore PDQ of 1. Just close the braces and you can copy the same thing for 1, 2, 3, 4 because you gave triplets over there, and you can copy the same thing for the next 3 values because you just change here seasonal PDQ of 2, seasonal PDQ of 3, seasonal PDQ of 4, 3 and 4. For generating the combinations, and if because we need to forecast for the next upcoming, I have pasted it in chat box. You can see, you can get the different combinations 001, 010, 011, 100, because you need to understand how that is going to project in the future. So here you give out some finding out the parameterized values. This is a very, very important step so that you can project it in the future, which is called as parameter selection, where we'll use our grid search to explore different combinations. We gave the different combinations, right? 001, 010, 111, sorry, 011, 100, because those combinations are used to understand how your data is going to change based on the past into the future, right? So this is how this AIC measures. AIC score is nothing but the lowest the AIC score will have, the better the model will fit. So for that, I define my thing here. Just with this step, we can project our next upcoming values. Don't worry about that thing. A simple Python step from parameters in PDQ, because now PDQ is a sequence. You go for, because for any kind of time series analysis, if you go for ARIM analysis, you need to go in this way only. Just try to understand how we are doing. We give out our try block so that, so for parameters in PDQ, auto-regressive integrated moving average, you're going for seasonal analysis and you're giving your try exception so that it will take from time series analysis and it should give me individual scores. State space dot Sarimax stands for seasonal ARIMA, seasonal auto-regressive integrated moving average values, where you give out your values y comma, and what is your order? Order is equal to params. You can see the parameters over there, which is suggesting. And what if I give seasonal order is equal to param underscore seasonal and comma enforce underscore. Once I write, you will understand stationary. Stationary t is equal to, that's a dummy value where you define. So to enforce your values, how that is invertible. Invertibility is nothing but how that values are going to change. Invertibility is equal to false. So these are the parameters. Order is equal to param, and seasonal underscore order is equal to how the parameters are going changing seasonally, and enforce underscore stationarity is equal to false, and invertibility is also false. And you're projecting that results with mod.fit. You're fitting out the values in it, and you want to print the scores because we are trying to find out the different scores for each and every trend analysis. That is the reason we are giving out these number of things here. Minus AIC scores indicates how that value is gonna change for every day. Then dot format of param comma, we're about to finish, just more 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Let's go seasonal, and you want to have the results dot AIC. You give out your exception block so that if you are getting any errors, you can directly continue. just we are trying to find out the seasonal order, and for this we are using iterates through based on above part. We got the combinations, right? 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 1. For all the combinations we are trying to find out the scores, so that these specifications will try to understand how our model is trying to fit for each kind of analysis, because it is not that simple to project the values. See, it is giving you some values over there. It should also give you the AIC score. Let me check it out. Results.aic, try block sm.tsa.statespace.sarimax of y comma order is equal to param comma seasonal underscore order is equal to param underscore seasonal, enforce underscore stationarity is equal to false, enforce underscore invertibility is equal to false, and then you fit the results and print according to dot format of results.aic. What did you get? Did you get any scores over there? That's what I'm checking out. Yes, somewhere something is missing. Let me check it out where it is missing. Results.aic. Yes, if you are getting the score, then that is fine. Did you get the scores over there? Everyone, I need to check where I missed the brace. What you need not get any error because we have ignored the warnings. Let me check it once. For param in PDQ, for param underscore seasonal in seasonal underscore PDQ, try block mod is equal to sm.tsa.state space y comma order is equal to param comma seasonal underscore order is equal to param underscore seasonal, enforce stationarity is equal to false, enforce invertibility is equal to false, and fit the model. Print, let me check, print off somewhere arima. Yes, this here I can check it out into, yes, into 12 minus AIC. That's what I'm seeing. Just a minute. Let me check it out. Arima curly braces and gave out into 12 minus AIC colon. Yep, now I think it should work. Yep. Because we are having dot format, you are having 3 variables. So make sure you give it out over there. You just include the braces. We are fitting out with this how it is going to change for seasonal and how it is going to change for trend, because in time series next we are going to find out the coefficients, how that is we are finding out according to this auto-regressive integrated and moving average values, because it is not that simple how we are going to forecast, right? So that is the reason we are using only furniture data and we are trying to forecast it. In the next step, you'll understand what are the results you are going to get. Let me finish this. You'll understand a later. In the next 10 minutes, you're about to wind off. We'll see how the furniture is going to change. sm.tsa, because this gives the coefficients, how they are varying. Just next 10 minutes, we are about to see how the forecast is going to show in a graphical manner and how we can project the values for the next 20 years. That's where you need to understand. Just 2 more steps. 1 comma 1, order is 1 comma 1, order is equal to 1 comma 1 comma 1, and seasonal underscore order. You try to understand, because we are using some regressive techniques here where we are giving out all the combinations, and from that combinations our model should learn. I mean our model in the sense we are giving out our ARIMA model, which is for forecasting. Stationarity is equal to false. Once you finish this, you will understand. Enforce underscore invertibility is equal to same above parameters. You want to see how the coefficients are varying. Same results is equal to, you fit in that, because fit is the method which we are using from statistics itself. I want to see the results of the summary. Results dot summary of the tables. Yes, y of order is equal to 1 1 1, seasonal order. I gave all the combinations 12 12 because 12 months in a year. Enforce stationarity and how the value should be stationed from one interval to another interval, and how we are trying to go for analyzing in an invertibility. I mean invertibility in the sense it should take all the values. Then you give out the summary of the data. Then you can see the coefficients and the Z values, how are the sigma values are varying. Those are purely statistics, because we'll try to project the same thing in a graphical manner. Observed data with the forecasting data. This coefficient and standard errors, you can see E value indicates, if E value plus, that means positive value, E value negative in the sense 0.0. AR, MA, AR dot S, this indicates the regression parameters, how it is varying from 20% to 0.02% to 0.97%, how that coefficients are varying. That's the only summary of it. I have pasted in the chat box. In the next two sets, we are going to see how the data is being forecasted. Now you will feel some bit assured, because these results only will help us to get yes. That confidence is an interval. I want to get prediction of the future data. So start is equal to PD dot, I use my pandas here, 2 underscore date time. I want to convert that thing into date time format. What is my last year? 2017, right? So I give that thing. I should, because that is the last year where my data has ended, I want to make sure it should start from there. And I define some dynamic is equal to false, because it should project the values in a particular way. And I give some value so that it should take in a interval manner. So PRED dot confidence underscore intervals. It should take in an interval. And what is the axis you are giving? It should start from 2014, because we gave from 2014. To start from 2014, and it should end at the projected values. Dot plot of, what is the label you are giving? Observed. You want to see the observed data and the forecasted data. That is one step ahead. So for that teasing, we have used the ARIMA model over there, which includes the PDQ parameters, mean dot plot according to axis. You're going to see how that data is going to change for sure in the next 5 minutes. And you can also practice it for sales. By I'm giving for furniture and order date, you can also go for furniture and order date and quantity. You can project it in that way. Alpha is the parameter to see the thickness, and what is the figure size I'm giving here? Figure size is equal to 14,7, so that I could observe in a better way. Then I need to fill the values. Axis dot fill underscore between the values according to indexes, PREDCI dot index, comma, and I need to locate the values dot ilocate, because ilocate is for index location, right? Don't worry with these variables, because these pure things comes under data analysis, where we are going to have in the next session, just to make sure how the time is utilized in our real life. We have projected this webinar, because time plays a very key role in all the things. Yes, you set the labels, AX dot set underscore label, that is for X label, set underscore X label. What is the X label? Date. And what is the Y label? Furniture sales. Because giving a data for the already existing one is very simple, but giving the graph for forecasting one is pretty much different. That's what we are going to see now, just with some simple statistical principles. PLT dot show. You can see the one step ahead, how the data is being projected. I'll paste this in the chat box. You can check it out. Yes, if you see the graph, you can see the observed and one step ahead, how that is increasing from January 2017 January to July, and it is going to extend. You can increase your intervals here and you can project. So the line plot is showing the observed, because this is a line plot, right? You're having the graph in the format of lines, something like rolling forecast predictions. So with the help of mean square, we'll try to find out how this is gonna change for the next years. I mean, for next 10, 8 years or 10 years. That's what we are gonna see. Yes, is it clear? Within next 2 steps, we are gonna see how that is being increased. You can copy that from the data, and we will be finishing off this in the next 10 minutes. Yes, you can see the forecasting one, how that is based gonna increasing or decreasing from 2017 January, and how is that gonna increase. It is clearly showing some upward trends from the beginning of year, because if you observe the past data also, beginning of the year, the trend is very good. But if it's gone to the middle of the year, it is decreasing. Yes, can you proceed? Now let's compute our simple mean square error, so that based on that, how that is gonna increase. Y underscore forecasted is for PRED dot prediction dot. I want to calculate the mean, and I want to see how the error is increasing or decreasing. See, based on the mean square errors only, we can understand what is my starting value. I need to give 2017 January. 2017 January 1st. It should include the data, and we need to compute the mean square error. Yes, so for that, you need to initialize. What is a mean square error? You calculate from the forecasted values with the original values, you square of them and you multiply it with mean. You know, right? Mean square error. Y of forecasted minus Y of truth, right? What do? You multiply them. I mean, you do the power of it and you find out the mean values. I hope you know mean square formula, right? Mean square error. How do you calculate? Y forecasted minus Y present power, Y forecasted minus Y present whole values, that is square of the values, and with the help of mean. Then our mean square error is, a mean square error of forecast is, we use our dot format method, and I want to round up the values to 2 digits. And same print. So you know root mean square error is square root of the mean square error. So why do I know? Why do I need this? Because based on these values only, I can come to a conclusion how my data is gonna project. Same dot format of round is for rounding of the numbers. NP dot square root of MSE comma 2. You get mean square error of the forecast is 22,993. Root mean square error is 151. Okay, 151 is not a bad number. What do you mean by the values? Those values indicate how your data is gonna project in the next. So that the sales, I mean the sales accordingly to the, you can go for yearly analysis. I have already projected, I have pasted the code in the chat box. So based on this values, we'll try to forecast the data. That is our final step. So for that, you can take the above step, and I'll try to make some changes in it. You can copy this cell, 44th cell, and I'll make some changes in it, because same axis, same labels, some smart work we can do over here. Upcoming sales, you see, I give results dot get underscore prediction is not the thing here, because we need to go for forecast, FORECAST, forecast. I remove all these things because I want the forecasted values, not the starting values. I give some steps, I give my intervals. You can define your intervals because that depends on your interest. So predict underscore CI is equal to predict underscore UC dot confident underscore intervals, and axis. Here I define, I change all these things with the help of Y dot plot of what is your label. I define, I change all these things. y dot plot of, what is your label? Label is the observed one, and you can define the figure size, which is the last step. Figure size is equal to 14,7. Same, predict PRED, you can replace PRED underscore UC dot predicted underscore mean dot plot. Axis label is not one step ahead, it is completely forecasting for the next 5 to 6 years. You can define this figure size on all the things because we have already defined in the above. You can go for forecasting and filling the values. Same, allocate PRED underscore CI dot index, allocate color is black and all the things. Set label is date, and what is the Y label? Furniture. Yep. Now if you run this, you can see the forecasting till 2025. That's what is our main target. I am pasting the code in the chat box. You can check it out. Yes, so this is how we have forecasted. What is the observed and what is the forecasted one? You can see it in the graph. See, the blue color indicates the observed one till 2017. So based on the past data, it is trying to give you some same observations in the next year, 2018, 19, 20, 21 till 25. So this is purely based on the ARIMA model because it has clearly captured the furniture sales. So as we forecasted from the past to the future, it is based on the previous things, how confident it is. Based on the confidence intervals, it is clearly showing an upward increment in year, and when it goes to the middle of there, it is decreasing and increasing. Yes? Did you get this output? So with this, you can also project some other categories. You can go for order date. We have used for order date and furniture, right? You can go for order date and sales. Black showed in the sense that is, it is giving you, it may go in that way because that is the future one, right? That is the, it is giving you some projection. It may increase or decrease with the confidence, plus or minus 100 interval in that manner. Yep. Did you get this? Yes. So that is how forecasting is. Clearly, forecasting is different from prediction. So forecasting is only based on the previous one. Prediction is based on the previous data and how your data is going to change in the future. I hope you have enjoyed this session also. And so we are coming with a data analysis, which includes data analysis on Python. We're using Python libraries. Yep. Nice.